What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be checking out Clanfolk. This game is one of those games that I think, in passing, most people are going to be like, it's a RimWorld clone. And then they're kind of going to turn up an eyebrow. But I'm sort of here to tell you that I've played for about 45 minutes to an hour before the recording of this video, just to get a feel for how things function. And the best way that I can describe this game is that it's kind of a middle point in between RimWorld and Unreal World. Most of the comparisons to RimWorld that you're going to see are going to come from this game's aesthetic, which is very much RimWorld inspired. But ultimately, this is not a game about fighting off endless waves of enemies and threats that are constantly coming after your little village. Instead, this is a game that takes place in the medieval Scottish Highlands, effectively, where it's got more in common with Unreal World than anything else. This is a game about surviving against nature, basically. A big problem in this game would be something to make a comparison. In RimWorld, a big problem is like mechanoids have landed on your map, and they are actively seeking out to exterminate you and test your defenses and see if you are worthy to survive. It's much more tense in its premise. In Clanfolk, a major problem would be like a bear has moved into a nearby cave. It is going to try to steal the village's children from now on and eat them. How are you going to deal with this? Are you going to send out a hunting party with spears to try to kill the bear? Or are you just going to accept that, like, the bear is there and do everything with your building possible to make sure that the children do not leave the periphery of the village? This is one of those games where the challenge is coming from surviving winter, rather than, like, exterior things attacking you. And in fact, combat is not really a thing in this game outside of hunting. And so that's where I think the distinction is going to lie. Whereas RimWorld is a very grimdark game about bad things happening, and it's the story of a colony, this game is more about the story of the individual Highlanders that are a part of your village and the lengths you are willing to go to survive the frost. But it is a much more bright and garish game with, I think, much more of a cheery outlook. It's more of a city builder mixed with Unreal World in that regard. It just happens to kind of share an aesthetic with RimWorld. So anyways, I know that was a long intro, but I can already, like, see the comments in my head. And honestly, this game does a lot of really unique things with sort of its automation and just hands-off, sort of micro gameplay that I think are actually to be lauded. So anyways, we're going to check out Clanfolk here today. If after watching this you want to get the game for yourself, the demo is live on Steam, so you can check that out. Aside from that, you can also look down below in the description. That will allow you to find a link to my Discord, my Twitch stream, and my Twitter, just in case you wanted to pick my brain about it a little bit more in person in all of my various avenues. So let's get started. I'm very sorry for the long intro, but you know, it's one of those things where when you do this long enough, you can see where the dialogue is going to go. And so, like, you kind of want to head it off at the pass and be like, no, 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 and sort of set people's expectations properly. So here we are. Our Highlanders have begun. If you click on any of them, they've got various meters that all need to be taken care of over here. So, for example, they've got, you know, whether or not they've been working lately. Some people find joy in work. We've got their overall health, their food, their water, their sleep, their warmth, their cleanliness, their bathroom habits. We've also got their social score over here, how much fun they've been having lately, whether or not they like their environment, and then, of course, a cryptic stat called plaid, which is very, very important to anybody Scottish. And as you can see, if we click on a person that actually has, like, a tartan on, his plaid stat has gone up. I don't know if the plaid stat just flatly makes them happier or how it works, or if that's even been implemented, but anyways, they have a plaid stat. That in and of itself sort of made me chuckle. Let's get started. The first thing we really, really need to do is, because this is a survival game, we got to get some branches and we got to get some twigs. So I'm going to start out with that. We'll go ahead and pick all this clear of twigs and branches so that we have a nice supply. And then from there, another job that's going to be important is we kind of want to strip all of the berry bushes bare. Because that's going to be sort of our first couple days. That's going to give us the buffer on food that we need. Like, if you've ever played RimWorld, or if you've ever played Unreal World, this is kind of the equivalent of having, like, a fishing spear and trying to catch, like, a trout, or trying to catch, like, a bass, like, in your first couple days, just so you have enough food to hold you over and you don't starve to death. Let's go ahead and unpause it, and you can see them. They're all going to spring into action, and they're going to go gather up all the things that I said. Now, this game is sort of interesting in that you start at, like, caveman levels of technology, and as it progresses, you're going to be moving up from stone tools to, like, clay tools to metal tools, And so as we find things, your people in your colony are going to have ideas as to how that can be used. And you want to pay attention to those ideas. They're very, very important. And so as you can see, we've unlocked the idea of stockpiling our stuff. And so the first thing we really want to do is we kind of want to get some stockpiles rocking. So we'll make like a little food stockpile right there, and we will make a little ingredient stockpile right there. The other thing that everybody's going to need is they're all going to need sleeping spots where they can crash out for the night. And I think we're going to need, is there a bush or like a tree or something in the way right there? Okay, there's like a tree in the way or something. Fine. We'll put in like 6 sleeping spots. The next thing that's going to be very, very important to our people is they need a place to get a drink, and for right now, that's going to be the lake. Seems like a great way to get Jardia to me, but, like, hey, we'll take our chances. We're very, very lucky on this map. On this seed, we've got a very large lake, which means that's actually going to make us a little bit better at fishing. Sometimes you just get, like, a little tiny small pond, and the little tiny small pond, you can overfish it and kill everything off inside of it. With a larger lake, like this one right here, or like lagoon, we're in much better shape. And so anyways, like my last one, I started out with a little tiny pond like that. I didn't really have anything good. This time around, I actually feel pretty confident about what we've got happening here. All right. And so what you'll see is that now that we have the stockpiles designated, they will start to move things to the requisite place where it's supposed to go in true colony builder fashion. You'll also see people going to wash their hands and to clean up. You'll see them going for a drink. Occasionally they'll get sick from drinking out of the lake, so I assume later on in the game we're going to get access to something like wells or purified water in some respect, or the ability to boil things. But now that we've done this, the other thing that we're going to need is we have a stick stockpile over there. Yeah, stick stockpile sounds pretty good. One thing I do like is that this game has a unified menu where you can see, like, everything that's available to you for right now. Like, this game does a really, really good job at collating information and presenting it in, like, a very simple way. And actually, I feel like that's something it should be applauded for. There's a menu for, like, everything in this game, and the menu is always, like, freely and easily accessible. If you want to rearrange people's skills, you can do that over here. Everybody has skills they like, skills they're neutral about, and skills they hate doing. They get a mood debuff when they do stuff they hate doing. So every now and again, you'll get colonists like this character right here is actually like a master farmer, but doesn't like farming very much. It's one of those curious things that happens from time to time, but you know, it's a part of the game. How you work around that is going to be a big part of how things shake out as you get further on into it. All right, so as far as jobs are concerned, now that we've got sticks and we've got food, I think we should probably go out and gather some stone. The downside here is that we're in an area that is not very rocky, and so, like, I see problems on our horizon. Normally, I like to set up in areas kind of like this right here, where there's, like, a little nook, because when you make a fire over here, the fire can't spread. This right here is grassland, so bad things are going to happen, like, the second we light a fire over here, I promise you. I burned down my entire map within, like, 5 minutes with a fire accident. So, like, just be forewarned. Sometimes bad things are going to happen. They're going to bring all that stuff back. That's good. I appreciate that. As far as our objects go and our construction goes, it doesn't look like there's much for us to accomplish for right now. But what we can consider doing is we can go into this menu right here, and we can make a work zone. The work zone is going to allow us to assemble various tools from the stuff that we've gathered, and that's going to be principally important because we're kind of in a grasslands area. We're going to need to strip this of all vegetation before we're going to be able to do anything like mildly productive with it. We also need to, I wanted to look around a little bit further out in the hinterland and just kind of see if there's berries and stuff around. Yeah, there's another grip of berries over here. I'd be willing to send people out to go grab that if they've got the time. Our crafting area is done, and we've unlocked a flute, which is for general public enjoyment. And then we've also got branch piles, and we've got sickles. The sickle's going to be super, super good. We want that. But one thing this game does that's really, really cool is you can set up limits for your entire society on what to produce. So, like, for example, we can come back in here and we can tell it to auto-build, or we can click it to build as many as we want. But the other thing we can do is we can go to the tools menu over here, and if we click on the stone sickle, we can say to maintain a target supply. And I think a target supply of 4 is pretty good. On the flutes, I would say maybe a target supply of 2, just in case anybody fancies themselves to be kind of the Mozart of the Scottish Highlands. But, you know, we'll get that stuff started, and we should see one of our villagers come back over here who has the crafting skill, start to put those things together. It looks like we did get a fairly solid grip of berries out of this area. very nice. And we've actually harvested so many berries that we've got the ability to make a berry bush for ourselves right now. So we can actually set up designated areas where berries will grow. We can only gather berries during the spring and the summer and the fall. They shouldn't regrow during the winter, and so we're kind of playing against time right now. We did gain access to the clear grass command now, which is going to be intensely important for us because this entire area is just a walking time bomb of fire misery. So I'm going to create a little fire break over here. This is going to take a really long time to get done, but with 3 people working with sickles, hopefully the job will eventually get itself taken care of, and then we'll figure out a way to kind of like keep ourselves safe. Once I clear this out, what I'll more than likely do is put like a 5x5 gravel area and then put our campfire in the middle of it. Because we're on a map that's very blessed when it comes to berries, we shouldn't have to worry about food for a little while longer, so we should have a little bit more of just kind of like a barrier or like a cushion for us to get sort of infrastructure set up. I don't know if we're going to have the storage space for a lot of this stuff. We may have to actually move the sticks around. I think that may be possible. So, let's take a look. We have storage objects right here. Go ahead, Familia, and make me a couple of stick storages right there so that we can move the sticks out of storage. I don't think we have access to rock storage yet, but at some point we should have access to rock storage. Now, this is going to be a never-ending battle against the encroaching of nature. We are going to have to clear this grass out pretty frequently. One thing I would like to see implemented is like the paths that your characters walk on. If they slowly started to degrade the earth and basically convert it over into like compacted mud or like compacted dirt, I think that would actually be really, really nice, and compacted dirt would like not be flammable. I don't know if roads and things are going to be an option later on in the game either. I haven't gotten that far in, and with this demo we only have access to the first 10 days, and so I'm sure there's going to be more depth of gameplay here, but I actually, myself personally, I like the idea of a survival-focused RimWorld. So RimWorld that doesn't really have the exterior threats. Instead, it's about exploiting and sort of maintaining your environment and kind of making sure that you have the things you need in order to get through harsh and frosty winters. There's something about that that feels very appealing to me, kind of on like the same level that I find something like Unreal World very, very appealing, or like The Long Dark very appealing, where obviously there could be sort of like fighting threats going on in those games, but they're really not the focus of the core of the gameplay. Alright, so with the reeds and stuff that we've chopped down, it's almost time for a sleep, and so we didn't get all the work done that I wanted to get done today, but we did harvest enough reeds to where somebody has the idea that they want to thresh all of this grass that we're taking on. If you don't know what threshing is, back in medieval times, the idea of threshing is what they did prior to milling. And so anyways, threshing is basically where you take the grain and you beat it against a hard stone. And what that does is there's kind of like these little, not calcareous, but there's sort of like a husk or like a rind to wheat. And by beating it against a stone, that sort of shell, it falls off, and you separate the wheat from the chaff, effectively. That's one of those biblical concepts that comes up from time to time. And they found that if you remove sort of the outer shell from the wheat, when you grind it up, the bread is much less likely to shred your throat with the force of 1,000 flechettes. And so anyways, we have lots and lots of grain now. One thing that I am interested in is flooring. I would like to do a gravel floor, I think, and I think we have enough stones for it. What I would suggest is we put the gravel flooring in right there. But it looks like we may indeed need a hammer for the gravel flooring. There's a little hammer symbol right there that makes me think that that may indeed be the case. Other stuff that we have available for right now that can maybe advance our tech tree. I'm just kind of going through everything that's possibly buildable right now. They seem to very much want a thresher, and so I think the thresher is definitely a valid option for construction. So we'll put that off to the side over here next to our stockpile so that we can start threshing grains. I don't know if they're in their off time right now. Yeah, it looks like they're all getting ready to go to sleep, and then baby Audra is just wandering off into the tall grass. Obviously something that's not going to have any consequences. It looks like construction is indeed commencing with our floor over here. We don't have axes invented yet so that we can chop down that tree. So we're going to need to be very, very careful about putting down a fire just yet. But I need more stones, so that kind of leaves us where we are. I'm going to send them all out to kind of this rocky outcropping over here to just grab stones wherever they can, since that's our limiting reagent for the moment. But I think we are going to have to invent axes before we can actually get this area fully fire safe. It doesn't look like the grass is creeping on in, so that's very, very good. They're out here gathering stones, which is fantastic. Very happy to see it. I don't recall exactly what I did to invent axes. I invented axes in my last playthrough, and I can't recall how I did it. Maybe I'll pick up on it soon. They just seem to invent things like kind of at their own speed, and I sort of like the lackadaisical pace that the game transpires in without any like major exterior threat. I'll be honest with you, it does kind of scratch an itch for me. Yeah. So as far as possible projects go, we can process some of this hay, and we can process it into straw so that we can build buildings. I don't think that's a terrible idea, and we do have the ability to build walls and fences right here. So let's maybe start off with that. I'm going to do this actually through the automation menu because I find it easier to do that way. I think it's going to be in the ingredients menu. And so anyways, if we wanted to make straw, I'm going to suggest that our target supply for straw should be like 300 straw. That feels like a really good target to me. And since we don't have like a haystack or anything that we can put this all in just yet, I'm going to accelerate this until they get this entire floor done right here. But I am a little bit worried about the possibility of fire spreading to that tree. That's the one thing that I'm concerned about right now. But I don't think we can advance any further without possibly... Yeah, I just don't know if it's going to be feasible to advance any further without making a cook fire. So maybe that's what we'll do. Let's make a cook fire. So we'll take this over to here. I do wish that it showed a radius inside of which fire could spread. I think that would be a very helpful thing. We'll put it right there, though. We'll put her there, and we'll see if this works out. It looks like they need just 20 stones and some branches in order to get it done. We do have stones laying around down here. I don't know if these are queued up for gathering. We do have some stones on that side. We'll pick up a little bit more, just kind of on the outskirts of the village. Just to make sure that we've got the things we need in order to keep this rocking right here. And so there we go. Now they've got the cook fire up and running. And what you'll see is they'll go ahead and they'll just light this whenever I think they need it. Now, as of right now, we can only cook eels. So we need to make an eel trap. And the construction of an eel trap is actually really, really simple for any society that has figured out how to make a turtle trap or a fish trap, really. It's really the same concept. Effectively, it's a small mouth right here, and the eel can get into it, and it's got a ramp, and the ramp extends inside of the basket, and the ramp ends at the mouth of the basket, so they have a means to get in, but they can't get out. And so what I'd like to do is let's make a couple of eel traps. We'll spin this guy right here, and we'll spin this guy right here. I don't know how many eel traps I should make, so I'll stick with 3 for right now. I don't know if overfishing is going to be something that I need to panic about just yet, but bringing in food, I think, is going to be critically important. And so it looks like this is indeed going to produce eels. I don't know if I need to set up limits on that. Let's take a look. Let's find out. So if I wanted to make eels, yeah, try to maintain a supply of, let's say, 50 eels. That sounds good. Now, one thing you do need to know about automative tasks is with the automative tasks, they only do those tasks if there is literally nothing else in the queue. So keep that in mind as well, that like they're only going to get to this stuff as sort of like a final goal. However, what we can do is if these traps come in, are people hungry right now? They are a little bit hungry. We can either go hunting for berries because I think we're out of berries for right now, or we can wait for the eel traps to come in. I'm a little bit concerned that they're going to go to sleep tonight. And it looks like they did indeed plant the berry bushes over there where I told them to plant the berry bushes. Oh, the berry bushes, that's what ate up our food. Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. There's more berry bushes over here, so that'll work. There we go. Go gather up all those berries real fast. We'll go up on kind of like a communal gathering party here to see if we can grab up some more berries. I do wish that they did little tasks. Like, you have to mod RimWorld to get them to do this, but I do wish that they picked things up on their way out. It looks like they pick them up on the way back, though, which for the longest time in RimWorld you had to mod in, so that's actually a really, really nice feature. Now they've got food they can play around with, so that's good. As soon as they're done with that job, it looks like the eels are going to come in at one point or another, so somebody should light up this flame over here and make it happen. We don't have tool storage or anything for right now, but we can get a hoe, and so... yeah, let's set up a couple hoes to be produced, I guess. We've got 38 sticks. I think we are resoundingly out of stone because our stockpile is full right now. Unfortunately, I don't have any type of stone storage. I do wish that I could make like a stone pile or something. That'd be pretty cool. But I don't feel as though I have that available for right now. Yeah, we just have the stick pile. All right. Well, hunting's up and running. We have our campfire. Let's make a couple of stone hoes. So we need to go to the objects menu, and we need to do our crafting. Actually, no, we need inventory menu. That's what I need. And then with the stone hoe, I think having like 4 of these will be fine. I don't think we need much more than that. Hopefully somebody will skip to Maloo and make that happen. It looks like the eels are about to be caught, and so we'll have to figure out how many eels we've caught. Oh, we've got the ability to gather clay now, and we can make an axe. Beautiful. We're moving up the tech tree. We're moving along. They've lit the fire right there, so that's great. It looks like the fire is trying to catch on the gravel floor right there, but it's going out instantly. And so I think there's a strong possibility. Oh, a pooping hole. Okay. Pooping hole sounds pretty cool. Is it like a people need? Oh, yeah, dude. All right. Let's, make a pooping hole. We'll make the pooping hole kind of like over there, just away from society. It's only polite. There you go. Dig up that pooping hole for me. So now we have a pooping... look, we have our first inaugural customer. Nice. The other thing that we can do now is we can make axes, which is actually kind of like a... I didn't mean to be punny right there, like, actually. But anyways, the axe is going to be very, very important. So we'll maintain 4 of those as well inside of our stockpile. What are those? Oh, they're raw eels. Very nice. Okay. I think the eels are probably going to degrade, though, out here in the sun. It feels like something that's going to fall apart pretty quickly. I think now is the time where we should start selecting things to build, too. So I would say with housing construction here, we can make thatch houses. We want those to be a long ways away from the fire, though. We could put one guy's house over here by the pooping hole. And honestly, I feel like this first building over here is probably just going to be a granary. There we go. And then obviously we got to put a roof on it, but then I'll migrate the food storage inside of our little improvised granary over here. We do have the roof. There we go. So we can roof it off. All nice and easy peasy lemon squeezy. There's not a whole lot of complication to the system. But as you can see, you sort of slowly move up the tech tree as you play the game. And as you do stuff, you unlock more stuff. And I sort of like that the game doesn't necessitate you having one person that has to sit sort of at a research bench all day, every day, just to unlock a certain thing. I like the more emergent idea of, like, somebody's been chopping reeds for a while. He has an idea. I think I can do this better. And then you unlock the new idea. Like, I just think that that's kind of a cool, progressive way to manage it. It sort of reminds me, there was a game where you had a colony full of pigs or whatever. Do we have anybody that's cooking? Yeah, let's raise the priority on the cook fire right there because everybody be hangry. And then I don't know if I have anybody that's actually set up. So it looks like Vernon is my cook. But Vernon is going to build. Do I need something special for this? I need branches. That's the problem. Okay. Well, in order to avoid everyone starvlificating to death, I suggest we go out and gather some sticky doos. Let's go get some more twiggy doos out here. As many twiggy doos as we can drag on down in so that people don't starve. They are bringing the stuff over for the thatched roof cottage. We got to watch out for errant trogdors and things flying through the sky looking to burninate, but I feel like we'll be okay. It's sort of interesting that Vernon is not cooking the eels, even though he's got very high priority cooking. Huh. He's still focusing on building. Okay. Weird. It's possible it's just because the sticks haven't been hauled. That it may also be a large part of this experience. We need straw and thyme. Okay. I thought they meant the herb time for a second, like parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Like, I thought they were talking about that kind of time. It's possible that building this building might have been the mistake that leads to the downfall of my colony. Vernon, can I just holler at you here, bud? Can I kind of, you know... Vernon, I need you to cook. Everyone is very hangry, Vernon. Like, we have very real hunger problems right now. I think I might have to scavenge berries real quick. There you go. Send them all out. Hopefully they'll just eat off the ground real fast. All right, perfecto. We got ourselves a bunch more berries. That'll hold us for a little while until Vernon figures out his priorities and decides he actually wants to, like, you know, be useful around here. Let's see. So I need the food stockpile to go away. And then I need a new food stockpile to be on the inside of our newly built granary. Hopefully, this will help out with the degradation of the food. So it's too warm inside of there, and it's just naturally getting old. Okay, understandable. Fair enough. Okay, so because it was automated, they were doing all the other stuff first, which is something I specifically brought up in the video and then promptly forgot about because, you know, I'm a top-tier YouTuber like that. I make smart decisions. We did chop down the tree, which is great. That means we can actually probably start doing lumber buildings pretty soon, too. And frankly, I don't like all these trees that are around my colony. So, like, I sort of feel like that's actually a good idea. Yeah, let's clear out some trees and see what we unlock from the experience of lumberjacking. I feel like that's probably going to be a task that... Oh, it actually doesn't take that long to chop down a tree. All right, good for you guys then. Well done. I thought that chopping down a tree with a stone axe was going to be kind of an undertaking. Like, it was going to be more will than engineering, in all honesty. Just like stubbornness and needing it to happen. The cooked eel does look like it degrades pretty quickly, too. I'm going to guess that we have access to some kind of smoking or something like that later on. Hey, we got rock heaps. Very nice. Okay, let's go ahead and we will go to our objects, and we will take a look, and we've got a gravel pile. That's fantastic. Love that. A rock heap over here, which is made out of logs, so we'll make a couple of those. And then no new storages, but hey, now that we've got... Oh, he's playing the flutie over here. Nice. He's playing the flutie to be a little bit more fun. I think I need one more sleeping spot, too. I think that may have been one of those things that I neglected. Now, until we have stone houses, I don't feel crazy comfortable about a fire being inside the house. I know that in medieval times they had fires inside their house with, like, clay chimneys and whatnot. But, like, it's still a big fire risk. What a lot of people don't realize, up until, like, the 1800s, in the frontier, a lot of people burned to death. Like, typically it was women because their outfits had petticoats, which were very flammable. And for, like, modesty's sake, they had petticoats that were very, very thick. Petticoats had a tendency to get into the cook fires when they were working around the camp. And then your wife would get lit on fire, and then she's not your wife anymore. So, you know, it's one of those things that actually pretty accurate, pretty realistic that fire tries to get everything in this game. An animal bed. Huh. Kind of a cool idea. But we need another sleeping spot. That's what I was trying to get after. There we go. Another sleeping spot. Perfect. Apparently they're disturbing each other's sleep by being in too close a proximity. So we are actively, I think, going to have to segment people out and sort of give them their own spaces. Otherwise, I don't think that our mood is ever quite going to recover. So we have a few bottlenecks in our overall stuff we need to do here. The game wants us to get another drinking zone, which I think is perfectly fair, so we'll take care of that. The game also wants us to have another duking spot, so we'll duke it on up over there. Inside of here, I would say don't take rocks, stones, sticks, or logs. Just put those in the communal storage, just to save space. Like, we have designated storage for it, you know what I mean? We did unlock pickaxes, and we did unlock manure baskets for fertilizing. We can also make rope, actually, without a lanyard ring, too, which is actually kind of a pain in the ass. It is not super fun braiding rope if you've ever done it before. It is boring. But I guess during this time period, there's no Netflix or anything, no video games, so you got to pass the time somehow. Let's go ahead, and we will make 4 stone picks. Sounds good to me. We may need more stones in order to make that plan functional. Well, actually, there's a bunch of stones over there. Yeah, there's some rocks laying around. We've got, like, what, 97 stones on that side? I'll send them out to gather a little bit more. Just from that side. And then we'll just kind of make it work. But yeah, I find that this game is kind of a mixture of RimWorld, Dawn of Man, Unreal World. There's influences in here, and I think the game actually does a pretty good job of distinguishing its core gameplay loop from RimWorld's. This is man versus nature, whereas like RimWorld is man versus everything up to and including eating on tables. And so like I think the oppressive darkness and difficulty of RimWorld is not present in this game. Like, when you die, it's because you messed up your farming, or you messed up your gathering, or you messed up something else, and now you kind of have to deal with the consequences of that decision. We've unlocked grass, we've got dirt floors, wattle fences. Actually, wattle walls are a really, really good idea. Typically, when I see wattle, so what wattle is effectively weaving. So really, if I had to build a shelter out in nature myself, wattle is what I would use, wattle and daub. So really the idea with wattle is here that you take foundational sticks and you put them roughly in a circle. And then the way that this works really, really well is if you have bamboo available. If you don't have bamboo, it gets a little bit more difficult just to like the brittle nature of sticks and whatnot. You need to find very wet sticks for this to work that have a lot of flexure to them. But anyways, wattle and daub. You take those circular vertical sticks, so like 8 or 9 of them to make a circle, and what you do is you get really, really, really long branches and you weave them back and forth in between those in a circle, basically all the way around the ring. And then you do it again, and then you do it again. And as it goes up, you bend the vertical poles inwards towards the center like a tent so that you can bind it off. And then you continue to do that, you continue to do that, you continue to do that. And then eventually you will actually have a pretty functional windbreak, a little hut effectively. And then what you do is the daub part of the wattle and daub. So the weaving is the wattle part. The daub part is you're going to find clay or you're going to find mud and you're going to spackle that along the outside and the inside. So you do the inside first. And then what you do is you stuff leaves before it dries. You take leaves and you take anything you can find around, and that's the insulation. And you put that up against the mud, and then you do it again on the outside, and you spackle the mud all over it so that you've basically got mud or clay. You've got clay, leaves, clay, from the outer to the inner layer. It sounds very simple when I explain it, but there's actually kind of a magic to it. There's kind of a magic touch to it that's actually kind of hard to pull off if you've never done it before. Bamboo makes it a lot easier. Anybody can do it for the first time with bamboo. But with other sticks, you've got to kind of like find ones or soak them in water until they get real, real wet, and then you can wrap them around. It just sort of depends what you've got going for you. So anyways, this is Clanfolk. I hope you guys liked it. I'm really, really excited about this game. Something like RimWorld, but with a little bit less intensity that's much more about man versus nature, is something that I am very, very interested in. And honestly, with the quality of life and the automation and everything else that they've put into the baseline demo version of this game, I think the future looks very, very good for this title. The developer, from what I've seen on forums and whatnot, is very passionate about the game. He very much believes in this project, and he seems to be a big fan of like survival games. And so I'm really, really interested to take my Scottish Highlanders and move them basically from the Stone Age all the way up into medieval times where we're walking around in chainmail with boar spears and whatnot too. I think it's a fantastically good idea, and I think there's room in the colony builder space for it. So anyways, I'll see y'all later. Thank you for stopping on in. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. We had Clanfolk today. Tomorrow we will likely have something else. See y'all later, and thank you for hanging out with me.